This show is brought to you by
6 years old, maybe. Productions.
Yeah, crew members, what's up, y'all?
Heyo! Ho!
Woo!
Let's go, baby.
So, we decided to throw y'all an episode of something we haven't done in a long fucking time. I honestly don't even think I have it on this touchpad, but...
I don't think you do either.
Oh, no. Well, I have the music. Do I have my intro, outro? See, this is how we start shit off. This is the way we start shit. I mean, I definitely have the music, which always... And then I got my scratch sounds.
Oh. Well...
Oh, wrong one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So...
I was taking like a Bollywood feel on that.
Yeah, my fingers just naturally started to do some weird thing. What was I going to say? So, it's been a long, long time since we got to give you guys a heads up. Give you guys an update, on what we're playing. Because we've been playing you've been playing some games. I recently got back into playing some games.
Yeah.
But you've had a ton of games to talk about, and I don't think we've had What Are We Playing for months.
Yeah, no, it's been a good amount of time. And like normally we'd be able to talk about Fridays and like gaming and the chill stuff, but we record on Fridays. You know what I mean? It's just it just works easier for both of us with the family stuff.
Yeah, well, the good thing, one thing that we can do, and I was thinking about it, and talking to my wife about it too, is we can use it twofold. Do what we've been doing, record a couple episodes in a night. That way, technically, we could just record 2 nights a week, and then the other 2 nights a week we can get back to playing games together.
Yeah, I like that idea too.
Yeah, like that works. That's dope. Because you can't game on Saturday nights because you have your
I got
D&D.
I got D&D, which is something you guys should check out, man. Was it Team Clock Natural One D&D Adventure?
Yep. You asked me like
I
what's it? I was like, wait a minute, it's yours, brother.
So here's the funny part. Every time I turn my computer on down here, one of the first things that pops up is Amazon Music. It has my podcast stuff up. So it always shows up with the Rope Ninjas and Cheese episode and Cheese crooning. And it was just, it makes me laugh every single time my computer opens.
As it should. You made me laugh when you played me parts from that episode.
It was so
But without further ado, why don't you start? Why don't you let us know what you've been playing?
All right.
Now, I don't know how far back you want to take it. You can keep it pretty recent because, like I said, we got 2 months worth of stuff. So unless there's something that you beat over the last couple months that you really want to talk about,
I mean, there is one. So I played Tales of Kenzera, Zao. It is it's very much an Ori in the Blind Forest type of game. It's a Metroidvania platformer, and I played it from start, from first to end, and it was beautiful. Like, the story is based off of.
Don't give away any spoilers, because if it is close enough to Ori that you think I would enjoy it,
God, dude,
I would jump in and play.
So I played it on easy, just because I'm shut up. I'm here for the story. That's what I want. Okay, yeah. Not that long. Very good.
Climb back down. Not that long. Climb back down the shaft.
Nah, man. Look, I've realized I'm at the point now that I don't necessarily want to deal with the bullshit of the difficulty. I just want to be able to enjoy the story and play the game and enjoy playing the game. Because a lot of times that's why I switch out between so many games and cycle through, is because my interest gets lost because of difficulty on it. And I never think about lowering the difficulty on it because I come from that type of thought process of, well, you know what I mean? My man raised no bitch, all right? You know what I mean?
It's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? It's one of those. But
that's what I'm saying, bro.
But with kids and with work, and with only having a X amount of time that I can throw down. Now, luckily, my wife, she sits there, she hangs out with me in the living room while I play. So, you know what I mean? That's like kind of like our chill time, where we both can decompress a little bit. So, I've been very lucky to be able to do that as my out. But what I'm going to tell you about the game isn't something that is spoiling it.
I trust you.
So, Tales of Kenzera is a game that you are playing as Zao. Zao is a young man who just lost his father. And it is in an Afro-futuristic city. You know what I mean? And just lost his father. And what his father was doing, his father was writing these stories, the tales of Kenzera, and they have to do with a witch doctor, a shaman, who the shaman's job is to help guide souls through to the afterlife and help, because sometimes souls get in their own way, or something gets in their way and they become demonized. You know what I mean? They become like bad spirits. And the shaman's main purpose, at least in this game, is to free the spirit of the soul, so that way they can travel onward and be in peace.
That's
for
deep
eternity.
as shit, by the way. That pulls on the heartstrings right there.
Dude,
You know I like games like that.
it fucking hits. It absolutely hits. And it's like it's one of those things that because of playing Ori, you have a good idea of like the type of story, you know what I mean, and like what you're going to get with this type of story. The game mechanics are fucking awesome. Instead of with Ori, when you only had like a certain amount of moves, you have two things. You have the Mask of the Sun and the Mask of the Moon, because you're a shaman. You got these from your father. And the Mask of the Sun is very much like fire, and like it has like really like big powerful moves. And the Mask of the Moon, there's much more of like throwing projectiles and stuff like that. And it was it's one of those things that just I loved having that little addition added to it. The bosses aren't too bad. The story,
that you know.
yes.
Because if I do play it, I'm gonna be playing it on. I'm not some fucking sadist. Not gonna be playing it on the hardest difficulty. That ain't
Not
me.
yet.
No, that's only if I'm trophy hunting. But
You'll see how you feel about it on normal, and then you'll have a thought.
now, do you Now, is it the type of game like Ori where there's a lot of extra things that you can find that would help your journey, but you
Yes.
don't necessarily have to in order to
Yes.
progress the game?
There are things that you can find to help make you stronger throughout your. Throughout, so that way, like at the end, you have X amount of skills or points or whatever to be able to spend, do all sorts of things.
Got it. Is there I was about to say, is there skill building and stuff like that?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, there's skill building. There's a point system. You
Love
know what
it.
I mean? With like the points is what you're using to upgrade your abilities and like the duration of certain things, because you have a huge power move with both masks. You know what I mean? With the fire one, and also with the sun one, and with the moon. And you can use your points that you get throughout the game to increase like the duration of those things happening and how long.
Got it.
But yeah, dude, it absolutely pulled on the heartstrings. For somebody who has lost their father, for somebody who, you know what I mean, who dealt with that personally, it was there. I mean, I knew what to expect. I had a feeling just off the jump when I started playing it about how it was going to be. And I was, for the most part, right. There was a twist at the end that I didn't expect, but for the most part, I was right with this. And I think that helped me to not get too emotionally invested, to where that I'm going to, like, as I did with like Will of the Wisp, where I was on borderline tears. You know what I mean? Because that shit happened on fucking stream. You know what I mean? That I almost fucking broke down.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So I beat that, and me and the guys, we've been running through. Trying to remember, we're still running through Baldur's Gate 3. We're in the third act. We're running the story like honestly, like we don't give a fuck. Like there's points that we're talking to people or talking to gods, and we're back talking. You know what I mean, dude? Oh, dude. There was one time we talked with the one Githraki god, or she was like some type of like empress or something, and we back talked her and said something fucking smart, and we all fucking died.
She had to show you what was up.
Just straight fucking killed us all, and then we all just came back in from the last save. I'm not joking, man. It was fucking hilarious.
Fuck around, find out.
Dude, I did. Boy, did I. And so we messed around with that. We did just beat something. I'm trying to remember what the fuck it was. But we did just run through the majority of the campaign on something. Right now we're doing the First Descendant.
Okay.
It's a third person perspective looter shooter. And it's actually kind of fun. It's like Destiny, it's like Warframe, but actually it's a lot like Destiny. So much so that Destiny is looking to actually sue them, Bungie. But it is a super fun game. It is a 4-person co-op. You can run through either with people or solo. You can either run a private party or a public one, and people could just jump in and just fucking just join you with all the random shit you're doing, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, you're grinding to try to get the best gear. You mean it's one of those types. And besides that, I've also been playing Jedi Survivor. Now that, woo!
How long have you been playing, roughly?
I don't know, because sometimes it takes me longer to get through shit. So
Because I was going to say, if you've been playing long enough, then you'll know that I did not lie when I initially told you just how expansive that was compared to the first one. It is large.
yeah, no, absolutely. So I got to hang out with Marin again, which is awesome. She's with me now. Her and Bode are running with me currently. Dagon, who is the main bad guy in this one. Dagon, I just fought him for the second time. It was at the
first time.
First time is when you get him out of the capsule.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So the second
That was
time,
Diesel.
that was fucking nuts. And I had a feeling like once I saw him come out, I'm like you're too pasty to be a good guy.
Yeah, you're too pasty to be a good.
Well, I mean, even Marin, Marin and her Night Sisters, technically, Night Sisters are some bad bitches, but that's a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? So her having that look makes sense. And I've loved being on the desert world to where you're riding on the camel things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that part has cracked me up because you see Cal just, sitting kind of like cross-legged, both legs on one side. Just like riding on the thing.
Getting there the first time you get to those sand areas when you got that fucking, that was anxious times.
Nah, yeah, so I'm in some mega ship. To where it's like, it had a whole bunch of droids. It had some of the droids from Clone Wars and stuff like that, like the ones that roll and have the shield, bubble shield in front of them.
Yeah, battle droids.
Yeah,
and
I had those. I had to deal with some Bedlam Raiders. So, nah, man, it was one of those things that I was waiting for you because you were going to throw it to me. But you got caught up playing something else, or you just stopped playing games at the moment. Whatever it was.
Was that, yeah.
And
it hit Game Pass.
It hit Game Pass. So once I saw it on Game Pass, I'm like, bet.
Done and done.
Let's go. And luckily, the kids have been. The kids have been having a great summer. They've been damn near feral. I love it. It's kind of giving them. Letting them grow a little bit of a backbone a bit. But with that, and look, it's a game that I can pause and I can handle whatever business I got to handle. I'm not worried about it. So I'll play that during the day, after I get home from work, to go, because if we don't have anything going on, Jess is doing her thing. I'm like, something, I feel like scrolling on my phone is going to be just not beneficial for me. Let me go ahead and try to have some joy. Because, dude, well, that's another reason why I'm playing games on lower level difficulties now. Because I want to have joy. I want to be able to enjoy it.
That's what you play games for.
Because, dude, if I were to play Jedi Survivor on normal, I would probably be 3 worlds.
Don't cut yourself short. You played the last one on normal.
I did. Again, I'm very happy with the way the game is going so far. I do like it. My little homie BB or BD.
BD1.
Yep. Man. Yeah, man. But also getting able to see everybody again, man. Seeing Seer. Seer fucked my head up because she had no hair. But then I'm looking at her going, when they put hair back on her,
didn't look right.
It don't. That's the part that messed me up. But then again, I'm also thinking, nobody's able to do black hair very well. Mm-hmm. The texture of black people hair is very difficult to try to get in video games That's why like everybody's going for the Killmonger look. You know what I mean? Right now, and like shit, like an Eddie Gordo, man, when they brought him back in Tekken, they gave him the same fucking look. Miles Morales, same look. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they just try to find one thing for black people and just stick with it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're definitely a little bit further than I am in Jedi Survivor because there was one area towards the beginning of the game that I spammed over and over and over again because there was a room with about, I'll say probably 8 to 10 stormtroopers and shit like that and whatnot. And right after you beat them, in the very next room was one of the little save spots where you can respawn everybody and up your skills. So I literally just saved, respawned them, went back down, killed everybody, went back up. I did that probably like 50 times because by that point, I then had so many skill points. I was up in all sorts of shit. I was basically trying to put myself in God mode from the very beginning. Yeah. I was like, let me see how many times I can do this before I get tired of doing it. And then when I'm just finally tired of doing it, I'll just go off. But I know I spent a few hours doing that. Dude, I'm pretty sure I had a couple things like maxed out by the time I left that room.
That is so funny. That is so funny. But yeah, man, I haven't really been playing like too much. I haven't trying to think with the PlayStation. I don't think there's anything I've really been messing with.
Have you in Jedi Survivor, have you played that tabletop game yet?
No. So I found
that shit's fun, dude.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I found the people.
Yeah.
I mean on whatever the fucking planet is. You mean the one that Greaves has the saloon on?
It makes you think. It's definitely a strategy.
Okay. Nah, I haven't had a chance to go back to the saloon to try it out yet.
Yeah.
But I did grab those people.
It is dope how that thing gets like upgraded. Go and then like
how you keep on finding people and every time you find somebody it's like, hey, I mean,
like you got anything up on you, like have you gone up to like your rooftop garden and shit like that? Yeah,
no, I haven't kicked that yet.
It's pretty wild.
But nah, man, I like I said, I really haven't been doing much else. I like trying to stick. I've been doing my best to try to stick with one game at a time, or at least one game per system, or something along those lines. And for the most part, I'm sticking with it. Like I said, I can't remember what the fuck I'm playing on PlayStation. I haven't turned my PlayStation in a while.
What were you playing Helldivers on?
There you go. That's what it was. But look, Helldivers lost like 96% of their fucking people. You know what I mean within like a week. Like 96% of like
why?
Because I mean look, Helldivers also was another game that I've been playing for. I mean that I was playing. Helldivers became
Anthem.
Pretty much.
Really?
In the fact of like the missions. You know what I mean? Like you're getting bogged down trying to do all these fucking missions. The missions are fairly stupid, and then once you sit here and think, damn, this is too fucking easy. And then you go from like a Terminate planet, which is like the bugs. I mean, that's like Starship Troopers type. And then you go over to the automatons. And on the same difficulty, you can't even get out of the first section of the automatons. Like, they have the scaling on it so fucked up. They nerfed some guns like beyond fucking stupid. I mean, it's where there is no point in having them or using them. Like, I maxed out my total money that I could use. I've been holding on to that for the longest time because there hasn't been that many things to buy.
Who made Helldivers? Do you remember offhand? I mean, I can look it up.
No, I don't know offhand. But yeah, look, so Helldivers I was running with Mike and Hav, and I mean it was just something. I mean it was the nice that we didn't want to run. That we weren't running anything on Xbox, or Dan had something to do or something along those. Arrowhead. There you go. Thank you. And look, for the most part, Arrowhead's been pretty cool with being just upfront and honest. Like, yo, look, certain things are happening with the servers, yada yada yada. I mean, they're trying to be as upfront as possible, which is actually pretty awesome. But the grind in that game just started to get a little too ridiculous, so they lost a lot of people. And I think a lot of those people went over to games like First Descendant and stuff like that.
Really?
I think so. But you, sir, I gave you my 20 minutes of talking, so now it's your turn.
For sure. So I was quite far in Jedi Survivor, and then a bunch of stuff. I'm not gonna get into it all, but a bunch of stuff happened with my work, and I didn't have it in me, and I had to take a step back from gaming for a bit because I just couldn't. My brain couldn't handle trying to get into a game, and I tried like what seemed like every other day. I was on Game Pass. Find some. Let me see if I can find some. Nothing was working. Alex was buying me games left and right. She bought me.
Got you Avatar.
She bought me Avatar. She bought me Horizon Forbidden West.
Yes.
And there was something. She bought me because I'd actually never played it before. She bought me Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword for the Switch. Because I've always wanted to play and beat, because it's my favorite franchise, every Zelda game ever made.
Was that one of the last ones you haven't?
It's one of the few that I hadn't. Yeah.
Are there any that were? Are there any? I mean, because are there supposed to be like 20 something Zelda titles?
Yeah. So there's. Well, it's funny because that's gonna pop into what I'm talking about here. But so she bought me those. I put in Horizon, fucked with it for an hour, really enjoyed it, but it was just overwhelming. And I was like, fuck, I can't do this one.
And then having to get back into it, even the same way you did with
the
first one. Well, it's rough.
I went a little too far. So what really, really pissed me off is, so once my job situation kind of got figured out and that, anxiety got to go away a little bit and I could kind of breathe, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get back into, let me clean up Jedi Survivor. Let me get done that. And as soon as I got in, I was like, this is not a game you can walk away from for almost a half a year and then just pick up and know what you were doing, where you were going, what secrets you had already found.
Mechanics and all.
So I was like, shit, dude. Like I was like, this is going to go one of two ways. Either I'm going to have to start it completely over, which I don't want to do because I spent so much time upping my stats and doing all that stuff and finding all these secrets. I was like, or I'm just going to have to put it to the back burner for a little bit until I know that I have a day or two where I can really just dive in and try to remember what I was doing, figure out where
your shit.
Yeah. So that I think is what I'm going to do down the line. I played Avatar for a couple hours. That's also very fun, but again, it was just too much for my brain. I needed a gateway drug to get myself back in basically. So
I love the way you're explaining this because you're right.
I was like, these are the games that I love to play, but that my brain is not allowing me to get there right now. So Alex, for a while, not for a while, but for a couple weeks, had been playing Stardew Valley. I don't even know where it came from. That she just randomly started playing it one day. I think she was just fucking around searching Game Pass and saw it, and she definitely has a type of games it's not a far cry to see. Yeah, it's not a far cry to see her playing that after playing a game like Animal Crossing and stuff like that. I had no clue that it was co-op at all, so I was watching her play a little bit, and I was like, this is really relaxing. It was like how I was able to watch people play Animal Crossing. It's just the music was relaxing, and it's just like I could just chill. You know what I mean? And then she asked me if I wanted to play with her the one time. And I was like, all right, I'll hop in. For people who don't know, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Stardew Valley, and then I'll tell you my experience.
And let me also go ahead and say that this game is what IGN calls a 10 out of 10. It's considered like one of the best cozy games.
Yeah, it got a 10 out of 10 on IGN. It's like 5 out of 10 on Polygon. It's getting 9s and 10s across the board anywhere that it can get it. And plus, I have friends who played as well. Shelby, absolutely. It's already being put and considered one of the greatest games of all time. So it's going to be popping up on lists left and right at some point. Yes. Which for a game like this is actually pretty surprising, because you don't generally see a lot of games like that. When you're talking about the best games of all time, you know what you're thinking of. You're thinking of it's either going to be a ridiculously deep, crazy story RPG, or it's going to be Mario, Zelda, God of War, Call of Duty, like Assassin's Creed, one of the big boys is what it's going to be. But anyway, so just to tell you a tiny bit about Stardew Valley. Let me go to gameplay. So Stardew Valley is a farming simulation game. That it's kind of undersold if you just call it a farming simulating game. because they actually say it a little better up towards the top here. They call it a farm life simulation role-playing video game. So it's not just farm life. There was
a lot in that.
So, okay. At the start of the game, you create a character who inherits a plot of land and a small house once owned by their grandfather in a small village called Pelican Town, located in Stardew Valley. Players may select from several different farm types, each with a unique theme and different benefits and drawbacks. So when you first enter, you basically pick what island you want to live in.
Okay.
And each one has its pros, it has its cons, because, you grow things in this game. There's wood you chop down from trees. There's fruit you need. There's fish. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So, like, you can get, a pretty much, a landlocked area where you're going to have a lot of wood, a lot of stones you might need, but finding fishing spots may be hard to come by. Then you can have an island where you're basically surrounded by water, but then maybe it's harder to find some of the other things, not a lot of trees, not a lot. So you got to think how you want to do it. The farmland initially is overrun with boulders, trees, stumps, and weeds, and you must work to clear the debris in order to make way for crops, buildings, and various other placeable items. Players interact with NPCs that inhabit the town, including engaging in relationships with them. This can culminate in marriage, which results in NPCs helping the player character to tend the farm. After marriage, you have the chance to conceive a child with your spouse or adopt one in the case of same-sex marriage. Players can also engage
That's fucking awesome.
Right? Players can also engage in fishing, cooking, crafting, and exploring procedurally generated caves with materials and ores to mine or creature combat. You can take on various quests to earn additional money or complete specific collections of materials. Completing bundles rewards players with various items, including seed tools. The game uses a simplified calendar, each year having 4 28-day months that represent each season. That determines which crops can be grown and which activities can be beneficial. So when I watched Alex start the game, I legitimately thought it was just like a farm simulator thing. Like you were working your way up to get enough resources to build a big farm, and then once you do that, you just spend your time tending the farm. Didn't realize there was
That's
any...
kind of what I thought of.
I didn't realize there was any combat in this game. I didn't know there were weapons, none of that. Like I thought you were literally... I thought it was Farmville, essentially.
Yeah, every time I think about it, that's pretty much what pops up.
That's what I thought, but it outrageously is so much more. There is that element of it, obviously, tending the farm and tending to your animals and your crops and stuff like that, and paying attention to which crops grow in which seasons until you get... So we are far enough in and we have done enough quests and missions that we have unlocked a greenhouse on our farm that will grow crops year-round. So any crops we have, we can grow year-round in there.
Okay.
You can upgrade, like once you build your home, you can upgrade it with different rooms and bedrooms and basements and stuff like that. And you can have a cellar where you can put in casks so you can age wine and beer and cheese, because the more you age it, if you want to sell it, the more money you can make. Or the more, the better it is, the more benefits you can get if you go, into combat. Now, there is, and Alex turned it on this way, so I don't know what it's like playing the other way. There's a setting in the options where you can basically turn off enemies and creatures coming like onto your farm and just being in the overall world, with the not just in the places you would normally go to find them. So she turned that off because she was looking for something just more laid back. Like she didn't want to be doing I just want to like relax, play this game.
Oh shit, my farm is being invaded. I need to go
Yeah,
ahead
she was like,
it.
let me not do that. So, but there are still places that you have to go. There are these caves. There's one cave called the Skull Cave. There's different locations you can go to that do have enemies in them that do, level up, the higher, the more you get into the game. And when you start, there's a community center in this town that is all broken down and dilapidated. And in each room, there are things that you need basically to give the community center to refresh the room and inevitably, bring the entire community center back to life. And, some things are hard to come by. Some things are easier to come by. But you get, you have a hoe, an axe, a scythe, a watering can, fishing pole, and then you have the weapons that you can find, and you can go to the blacksmith. You can upgrade weapons. stuff like that. Everything, as far as tools go, when you upgrade them, it goes. I don't know what the original one goes, but then it goes, I believe, copper, steel, gold, and then iridium. And once you get to the point where you're trying to upgrade to iridium stuff, it becomes hard because you have to find iridium ore. Like you have to find the things in order to make the bars to be able to upgrade your things. So like you have every part in this process. It's not like you just go like, oh, I found a weapon. Let me just take it to the blacksmith and, click upgrade, pay him some money and you get it. Like, no, you need a certain amount of, say you need 5 iridium bars to upgrade your weapon or upgrade your watering can if you want. So now you have to find some iridium ore. You have to find coal. You have to take it to your little smelting machine, put it in there, get the iridium bar out, and then go. And then when you take it to him to get upgraded, you have to wait a couple days. You don't get it right away. Now the days do go by pretty quickly. I never looked it up, but I would imagine. So the days start, I believe, at 6 a.m. If you are not in bed, I want to say by 1:50 in the morning, your character just passes out, and however you get back, whoever takes you back to your bed, they will take money from you. So like you will lose money from passing out.
Funny.
If you die in a cave or anything, and you end up in the doctor's office the next morning, not only do you lose money, but they can take anything that was on you in your inventory, including your weapons. They can take, I think I've seen at most they can take up to like 5 things. But then there is this place called the Adventurers Guild where if you die, if you go right there, you will have the opportunity to buy back one thing that you lost. So, but if you have multiple things that you really, really wanted, you're shit out of luck. You're losing a couple of them. And if you have things like, how items stack, like say you pick up a rock and then you pick up another rock, they'll just stack and you'll see 2. Like they'll take a whole stack and that will count as 1. So,
man,
like it
I
gets
would drop kick a motherfucker. Like,
it gets wild, but it does have RPG elements. Like you'll find rings with special powers, like 10 extra critical attack power. Like it's just like any other RPG. There's just farming elements to it. And you will, the more you play, you get rewarded for how long you play, because then you unlock recipes to craft certain things that will make your life easier. Like when you first get animals. So we have a chicken coop and we have a big old barn that has goats, pigs, and cows. And in order to keep them happy, you have to go up to each one every day. You hit the button to pet it. Just only have to do it once a day. Just make sure it's happy. Pet it, blah, blah, blah. You physically would have to go to each, goat, cow, or whatever, collect milk if it has any.
Okay.
Because then you can use that for recipes also. You can sell it, whatever you want to do. But then the more you go, you can unlock certain things. So rather than having to go grow hay and then go in every day and lay it down to make sure that they have stuff to eat, you can build a silo that will hold like 250 bales of hay. You can put all of it in there and then it will automatically disperse it to your 2 things. Okay. So that is something you don't have to do. You can craft something called an auto collector, and you can put one in each coop. So if we have one in our chicken coop, we have one in the barn. So now all we have to do is go to the auto collector. It collects everything from the chickens every day. So we just go in there, collect all the eggs that we get. Same things in the other place. You can craft an auto petter, which is wild. It basically just looks like a machine with 2 sticks sticking out with 2 hands that just kind of like rotates basically. And you'll see them walk up next to it and just get a little pet. So you can cut that out. The biggest thing is crafting sprinklers, because if not, you physically have to water your crops every day or they will die. The higher the upgrade, the more coverage you'll get. So if you get up to the point where you get an iridium sprinkler, I think it'll cover I think it covers 9, so like a 3x3. So like you do find inevitably have the ability to, build things to then allow you to just go and play more of the game rather than spending half the day on your farm. There are missions, there are quests to do for people that are fun. Like one that we just had to do was reaching level 100 in the Skull Caverns, it's called, and the way you get to each level. So like basically they're like little mini dungeons, technically. They're like little mini dungeons, and there's rocks that you bust up, and there's enemies in there too. And under one of the rocks in there somewhere that you would bust up with your pickaxe, you'll find either a ladder, which will take you down one level, or you can get lucky and find a hole, and you can jump in that, and then it'll randomly generate a number of levels that you've dropped. Like, I think we've dropped 3, we've dropped 4. One time we got lucky and we got dropped like 15 levels or something like that.
So the more levels you're like down you are, the better it is.
Yeah, because you want to get to level 100 and you only have, a day to do it. Because like I said, you wake up at 6 in the morning, and for this one, there is no like starting at the floor that you left on. You have to get to 100 in that moment, or you're starting back off at 0. There was another place, there are these mines that does have an elevator system, so every 5th level you get, you can always start back at that 5th level, so you can start back at 5, 10, 5. So that made it easy. But dude, it's hard. Like it's hard once you get in there, and having to upgrade, weapons and find things. It's actually been a lot of fun. We've had some moments that have been a little tough, but we are thoroughly enjoying it. So that's what we're playing most when we can play together. Now, since I was saying that she bought me Skyward Sword, and I wanted to get back into my desire to play every Zelda game, especially because I saw the new one coming out soon.
Yes.
Where you play as Zelda, right?
Yeah. Like that shit's wild. And I love that we're getting that, because we just got
it
that
with Peach.
Exactly.
And they're talking to each other. It's Nintendo. You know what I mean?
Because you on the slide, they're going ahead and throwing a little fist bump going, first you, then me.
At some point they were talking to each other and they were like, hey,
I got you.
You ready?
I got you.
You ready? Let's do this.
Let's fucking go.
Let's do this.
We're gonna call this bitch Legend of Zelda for a reason.
So there had only been a handful that I hadn't played. So the original NES Legends of Zelda played, and a lot of these I have, like, after having won the final battle, I have it saved on the Switch, so I know I did it. So the original beat Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, also beat, I'm not going 100% in order, Link's Awakening, which I believe was for the Game Boy, beat Link to the Past on Nintendo, beat, but I knew there was always some on Game Boy that I never just had a chance to play, because if I was playing anything on Game Boy, it was Pokemon. So True. And with the beauty that is the emulators that you get on the Switch, there's always the likelihood that something pops up. So I was looking on there, and there are 3 Zelda games that popped up, 4 actually, that popped up on there, 2 of which I know I never got to play. One is the Oracle of Ages, and one is the Oracle of Seasons. I'm pretty positive they're virtually the same game. They're just played a little differently. So I'm playing Oracle of Seasons
so
now.
Pokemon X, Pokemon Y?
Kind of, sort of, because in Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, the games are exactly the same, but the Pokemon are different.
Well, also the gyms are different.
True.
You mean, there are certain Pokemon for certain shit.
So I think the way they said it, I think they said Oracle of Seasons focuses a little more on the combat and less on the puzzles, and Ages focuses more on the puzzles and less on combat. And I can get an idea of how Ages works based on seasons, because in Oracle of Seasons, you end up finding this rod, which basically gives you the power to change season. So you, in order to complete certain things and do certain puzzles, it has to be in a certain season. So I would imagine it's probably the same thing, but rather than doing seasons, you're traveling back and forth in time, I would imagine.
Okay.
In Ages. That's what I figure. I'm about halfway through that, and my plan is, and that's been a lot of fun. Sometimes after playing a game, a Zelda game like, Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, like that wide open thing, it's kind of nice to get back to like the labyrinth style, just,
to what Zelda, to what those games were known for.
Yeah, like there's only so many places you can go type of thing.
And that's the thing, because I never played any of the OG games. My first Zelda game that I've ever played and beaten was
Breath of the Wild. I still so badly want you to play the Ocarina of Time, just because of how often it pops up as the number 1 game of all time on some of these lists. And I think you'd have a blast.
Isn't it on one of the emulators?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, I beat it on the emulator, even though I had beaten it 50 million times.
I was about to say,
you've
beaten it more times than I could.
I have it beaten on every. I have it saved and beaten on every system I could possibly have it on. So it's saved and beaten on my N64, probably multiple times, on my DS, my 3DS, and my 2DS. I have it beaten on there, and now I have it beaten on the emulator on the Switch.
Damn.
It's my favorite game of all time.
No kidding.
It's basically like it's open without being as open as like Breath of the Wild.
It's open, but it's still directing you.
Basically. Kind of. But anyway, so I'm about halfway, maybe a little more than halfway through Oracle of Seasons. Then I plan to jump right over to Ages. And then there's one other game, I believe, on the Game Boy Advance emulator that I know I didn't play called Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. I have not played that one. They're all the games, excuse me, that I know that I haven't gotten a chance to play were all handheld. It was, again, so it was Oracle of Seasons and Ages, and then there's 3 other ones. There's the Minish Cap, like I said, there's the Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks. I have not played any of those. I would like to play all of those.
And you played everything else besides that you can think of at least.
And Skyward Sword, yeah, because I have done, so, original, Zelda 2, done, A Link to the Past, done, Link's Awakening,
I remember
done.
pulling this up before, too.
Yeah, Link's Awakening, done, Ocarina of Time, done, Majora's Mask, done, Wind Waker, done, obviously Breath of the Wild, done, Tears of the Kingdom, technically not done. I'm at the very end. I just have to finish the fucking thing. But I've basically beaten the shit out of that whole game. So let me see this list, because some of these weren't like main games.
Okay, so you have Echoes of Wisdom. You got Tears of the Kingdom.
What the fuck is Echoes of Wisdom? I never even heard of that.
Okay, then there you go. Well, no, that's supposed to come out this year.
Okay,
Right.
maybe that's why. Okay.
So Tears of the Kingdom, the Calamity stuff. What's this one? Link's Awakening, Cadence of Hyrule, the Champions Ballad, Master Trials, Breath of the Wild. You had Picross. Oh, Twilight Princess.
Yeah,
okay.
and now some of those aren't actual like game like Link's Triforce
No, it's just,
Heroes.
it's just other iterations.
Yeah.
Because I know Calamity is different. You know what I mean? Calamity runs much more like the older Monster Hunter game. You know what I mean? It runs a little bit more like that type of world.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, there's a fuck ton of goddamn titles for this particular.
But there's only so many that are actually considered like part of
the canon.
Essentially, yeah. So like I said, you've got Zelda 2, A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess.
Okay, yeah. So Echoes of Wisdom looks very similar to the Link's Awakening style.
Yeah.
But it's just, it looks like you just play as Zelda.
Yeah.
And that one's going to be dropping September 26th.
Mm-hmm. Wind Waker as well.
Majora's Mask.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That one was annoying. That is some people's favorite. That is my least favorite.
I've heard that one was good.
Because everything is timed. It's on a clock. So basically, very long story made incredibly short. You're trying to stop the moon, basically, from destroying the world, essentially.
Well.
And you have 3 days before this festival happens in this town where the moon's basically going to destroy the earth. So everything that you do, you have to do within a certain amount of time, and then you find ways to like rewind time, so you have more time to do things. It was just way too hectic and not what I generally look for in a Zelda game. I don't need my shit to be timed, like it's already hectic enough.
Apparently, there was a crossbow training.
Link's crossbow training.
You played that?
I have.
Really?
That was for the Wii, I believe.
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was also A Link Between Worlds, which was really genius. Anthony actually gave me that one. Because
I remember you guys talking about it.
He was playing it because basically it's like a newer version of A Link to the Past, but you can like travel between the 2D world and the 3D world. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I am running through those games while still playing Stardew Valley, and we'll probably have something new because after Stardew Valley, Alex and I have been looking for more games that we can play together. So I showed her this website that I use, Co-Optimus, that you can literally look up and you can filter by, do I want online co-op? Do I want couch co-op? Do I want split screen? And it will tell you every game that offers that for every system that's currently out. So So we're probably going to do that. So we'll have something else to do together probably. But really, really having fun in Stardew Valley. We're at a little bit of a standstill at the moment because we need to find something called a Galaxy Soul, because that's the last thing that we need in order to upgrade a weapon that both of us have into the best weapon you can get in the game, which is called the Infinity Sword. So we're trying to find one of those things to make it a hell of a lot easier to deal with some of these baddies that we're dealing with. But it has been a lot of fun, and it offers up to 8 players too.
Yeah, I've had Shelby tell me multiple times that if I ever decided to jump on Stardew, let her know, because she would very willingly throw me a link and we'd go ahead and game together.
Yeah,
because that's like one of her favorite games.
I see it. I mean, I can absolutely see how it would be, because it's, like I said, it does have its moments where it will piss you off when you're doing some of the combat stuff, but other than that, it's just relaxing.
Nice. All right, cool. So we're gonna let Ant take us out. Next episode after this one, we're gonna go ahead and throw down with Fallout. We're gonna have episode 7. Then after that, we'll talk about the season finale, and we can also talk about some of the stuff that they're up for, because Fallout got 16 nominations in the Emmys, which I am very happy to see.
Hell yeah!
Congratulations to them on that. Just me on a personal,
well deserved.
Oh, absolutely. Just me on a personal note. They have one of the X-Men episodes from the X-Men 97 run that they just did is up for an Emmy. Dude, it was a hard episode to watch, just like emotional wise. But all right, let me stop talking about this nonsense. Ant's going to go ahead and do what he do best, and then we're just going to let y'all game on, man. Be good.
Glorious. It's a glorious day today, and it's Saturday, and we're going to connect with CGC. You can find us at consolegamingcrew.com. You can find us at our email, which is consolegamingcrew@gmail.com. Our Twitter handle, by the way, is at consolecrew. YouTube and Instagram are both Console Gaming Crew. If you check us out, check out Boss Rush Network, which is bossrush.net. Great place. There's lots of things you can find there aside from us. Great people. By the way, Twitch should be returning at some point. It is CGC Podcast. We have Co-op Mondays, and we're going to do something fancy for Fridays. I don't know yet. But that's where you can find us. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.
This was a show from
6 years old, maybe. Productions.